Welcome back, Reliables. This is Steve with 24/7 Systems and Tango, back with the second installment of our location editor tutorial. We showed you in the last video how to quickly add locations to your asset tree. This video will cover how we are able to add these locations to tasks or routes in order to streamline your predictive and condition-based maintenance programs. A couple of things to note before we start. There are two types of tasks or routes in Tango: process parameter and condition assessments. Process parameters contain user-generated trends and observations that are added under an asset component. Condition assessment tasks contain asset components and provide a predetermined list of assessment options for the user to choose from. More on these as we go through the tutorial. Trends refer to measurable items, such as gauge readings, temperature readings, vibration measurements, amount of oil or grease added, etc. A trend is something that must be measured. Since it's measured as a value, it can be tracked and graphed in a trend chart. Trends can be assigned an upper and lower limit, and these limits provide users with an automatic range of acceptable values. Any values measured outside of the upper and lower limits are out of bounds and require a condition entry to be created. An observation group is more subjective and is added to a route in order to make sure certain checks, or states, are made. Observations groups are created by the users and contain the states that are considered acceptable or out of bounds, and out-of-bounds states require a condition entry to be created. States are some kind of qualitative statement regarding the general condition. For example, a check oil group may have the selectable options, clean, dirty, or cloudy. Selecting a state other than clean will result in an error fault requiring a condition entry. Condition assessments is a list of general options that users can choose from, such as measured no problem nothing to report, measured abnormal add condition entry, or not measured equipment down. Once an abnormal state has been added, the technicians are required to provide more information about the issues found by creating a condition entry. Now that we know more about the types of tasks and the options they provide, let's get started. We're back in the Tango demo database, and when we left off last time, we had just finished adding a new unit to the database, with all of the descendant assets it contains. Now we're going to add some trends and observations to the components and add them to routes. Let's open the Location Editor tool, and we're going to click on Demo Unit 2, then Function 3, then Agitator 3.1, then Gearbox 3.1a. First, we're going to add a trend. Navigate to and expand the component that the trend should be assigned against. Click on Add Trend. Create the trend you want to measure or select it from the drop-down. If you add a new name to the field, it will be available the next time you need to add that same trend. We're going to select Check Temp. Now we'll set upper and lower limits. Define the unit, degree Fahrenheit or degree Celsius, for example. And add a barcode number if needed. At this point, we can also add it to an existing route if we want to do that. Take note that we will add this trend to the route Demo Unit 1 monthly, and later in the video we will show you where this landed. We can also build the entire route from the Location Editor tool, more on that shortly. Click Save, Add Next. We'll add another trend, check oil level, record amount added. Set the upper and lower limits. Define the units, ounces, gallons, quarts, etc. We'll say quarts. And add it to the Demo Unit 1 monthly route. Save, and close. Next, we'll add an observation. Click on Add Observation. Create a new observation or select a pre-existing one from the drop-down. We're going to create a new observation called Inspect Cooling Fan Shroud. Users can add a description to the observation that's specific to that location, like grease type, general condition, or instructions. An optional barcode number can also be added. Like the trends, users can add the new observation to a route if the route already exists. Click Save and close. Here's a really important note. Since we created a new observation group, we need to be sure to add the state options for that group. Failure to add states to new observations will result in an error preventing the observation from being used or added to the routes. The observations are edited at the bottom of the Add Edit Location tab, under the Observation Group Editor drop-down bar. Let's look at the Observation Group Editor. All available observations are populated here, and they may already have states assigned. Click the caret to drop open and view the states. The various states already assigned are displayed. but we created a new observation, and now you can find it in the list. Inspect cooling fan shroud. In the Enter State Name text box, we will add 3 separate states. Enter the state name. Loose. Select the checkbox if the state is out of bounds. And click the green plus to add the new state. Dirty. And OK. Remember, out-of-bounds states require a condition entry to be added if that state is selected while performing the route inspections. Moving on to the trend editor, you see a similar layout, except that you can't edit the parameters here. That's because the upper and lower limits, and the unit definitions were specified at the time the trend was created. This section exists as a way to clean up database information. Did you notice that I had a typo when I entered the unit definition for the check oil level trend? I entered QR instead of QT. This is how to fix that, so it doesn't appear in your dropdown for someone else to accidentally select, and it helps increase data integrity. I'm going to click the edit icon next to QR, and I'm going to rename it to QT. Click Apply, and it will automatically change any instance of QR in the unit definition field to QT across all instances and records in the database. It's important to note that this is a permanent change to all names and units in the database and can only be reversed by manually changing one trend at a time. If you need multiple versions of any level in your location structure, with the trends and observations, there is an easy way to replicate them that we will discuss in the third video covering the Copy/Move Locations tab. I mentioned a bit ago about building an entire route from the editor, and now I'm going to show you how easy and time-saving it is. At the top of the Editor tool, click the Edit Tasks tab. You first see 2 buttons, Process Parameter and Condition Assessment. The trends and observations added in the Location Editor tool will fall under Process Parameter. Condition assessment tasks are typically of a single technology, like lubrication or thermography routes. If you need assistance in figuring out which is best for you, contact us and we'll be happy to help you make that choice. We will start with Process Parameter routes. Below these buttons, you see your location structure on the left, and a list of existing routes on the right. Let's create a new route by clicking Add Route. In the modal that opens, we name the route, in this case Function 3 Monthly. We'll add a start date. And an interval. And when the automated reminder email will go out. We'll say 3 days in advance. Intervals are how often the route should be executed and will prompt Tango to generate an upcoming route notification email. We will add an assigned user who is going to perform the route. Set the technology type, although for a process parameter route it will usually be general inspection. You can add a task group name, like Unit 2 Shop, which groups routes together when sorting routes in the rounds logging application from 24/7. Selecting a location alias will display any aliases of that type on the route point details when running your routes. Click Save, and it will populate in the routes list. To build the route, click on it to open it. Navigate to the area of the location structure you wish to add. Then you can drag and drop your trends and observations to the route until you have it the way you like. Now, that can take a while one at a time, so we've given you the ability to add them all at once. If you grab Function 3 and drop it in the route, all of the trends and observations from Function 3 will populate the route. Then all you need to do is set the order if you need it to be different. To do that, just grab it and drop it on the item that you want it to appear above, like this. Once you have made all of your changes, hit the Confirmation button. If you do not confirm and just click out of it or cancel, your changes will be lost. Exit the route editor by clicking on the X in the top right of the route editor. In our first video, while creating a location, and earlier in this video, while creating a trend point, we added them to an existing route, Demo Unit 1 Monthly. By clicking the route name on the right, we can see the points that we added during creation. We can now reorder those points. Add instructions to those points by clicking the 3 dots under Details. Any information added here is unique to this point and can include information about the trend, such as oil type, number of grease points, or special instructions. Or we can remove them from the route. If you need to replace a route point after removing, select the Show Deselected button, and it will appear at the bottom, where you can then add it back into the route. Once the changes are made, be sure to click Confirm. While we are looking at this route, let's click the Edit icon next to the route name. This is where users can edit this route information, change the assigned person, and choose to deactivate the route by unchecking the Is Active checkbox. Click Save to apply the changes. If you want to see any deactivated routes, click the Show Inactive button on the Route List section. Setting up a condition assessment task is slightly different from setting up a process parameter route. Where process parameter routes are tied to trends and observations, condition assessment tasks are tied to the component levels of your location structure. Once you click Add Task, you will need to give your route a name. And add start date, interval, days to complete, and assigned user. These 5 fields are required and necessary to auto-generate your assignments. To allow the assignments to be available in the Rounds Logger app, make sure you select the Setup for Handheld box. After clicking Save, you now have a drop zone for your components. As with process parameters, there are multiple ways to get those components into the new task route. You can go through your location structure and drag them one at a time. Or, you can grab at the function level and drop it into the task, and all of the components from that function will drop in. Use caution here, because depending on your database size, this may cause a delay or timeout error. If you encounter this, try adding smaller chunks like assets. If you choose to do it that way, but you don't want everything from the function in the task, you can simply deselect the items you don't want before hitting Save. Another option is to use the filtering functionality to select only a certain type of component you want. Set the equipment type filter to gearbox. Only the filtered results for gearboxes will be displayed in the location structure side of the editor. Then you can grab all of them at once and drop them in. Now your task has been set up to only include gearboxes. I need to take a minute here and talk about the start dates and intervals. Tango incorporates some magic numbers here. Whatever day of the month you set your start day for will remain consistent over the subsequent runs of that route. If you specify any interval day from 28 to 31, it will default to a monthly route, commencing on the starting day of that month. If you set your starting day as May 5th, and your interval as 30, all sequential assignments will be set to begin on the 5th of every month. If you set it for 60, it will start on the 5th of every other month. 90 days will default to quarterly. 120 will default to every 4th month. 180 will default to semi-annually. And 365-366 will default to annually. So you'll want to keep that in mind as you set your date parameters. Thanks for watching, and as always, we're available from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday Eastern Time. For more information, questions or comments, hop on over to our website at www.tf7.com and get in contact with us. We're always happy to hear from you.